I wanted to spend the weekend with my grandchildren, but my son-in-law snapped. You want to be with them? Pay $2,000. I smiled as if agreeing and handed him an envelope. He was expecting money, but found something else. When he opened it, his face turned white, and he roared with rage. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments what time it is where you are now. I was halfway through the sports section when I heard the BMW pull into my driveway. I sat down my coffee and waited. Neil walked in like he owned the place. Carl, hey, good to catch you home on a Saturday. His smile was wide, practiced. You got a minute? I wanted to run something past you. I folded the newspaper precisely. I've got time. He leaned forward. There's this investment opportunity, a real estate syndication in Tampa. Ground floor stuff, Carl. My partner needs commitments by Monday, and I'm $5,000 short of my buy-in. I know it's last minute. I took a sip of coffee. What happened to the other opportunities? I kept my voice level. What do you mean? His smile tightened. The consulting gig in February of 23. That was $3,000. Then the cryptocurrency platform in July, $4,000. The marketing venture last April, $5,000 more. I met his eyes. $12,000 total, Neil. I kept track. The smile disappeared. Those were investments, not loans. You know how business works. There's risk involved. Some things take time to mature. 2 years is plenty of time. I set my mug down. The answer is no. He stood abruptly, pacing. You spent 30 years running into burning buildings, Carl. What do you really know about building wealth in 2025? He gestured around my living room. You're sitting here in this same house, same routine, same outdated thinking. The world moved on. I'm comfortable. My hands remain still in my lap, and I earned what I have. Comfortable. He laughed. You know what comfortable gets you? Nothing. Meanwhile, Effie and I are trying to build something for Micah and Tyler's future, and you're worried about ancient history. Ancient history is $12,000 I'll never see again. His jaw clenched. He stood directly in front of me. Let me explain something to you, old man. You think you understand modern business because you read the newspaper and watch the news. You don't. I'm giving you a chance to be part of my family's success. I am part of your family. I'm Effie's father. Those boys' grandfather. Are you? He studied me. Because from where I'm standing, you're choosing money over your own daughter, over your grandsons. The answer is still no. I said quietly, firmly. I'm done enabling this pattern. His expression went cold. Your choice, he straightened. But don't be surprised if you stop hearing from Effie and forget about seeing Micah and Tyler. That's your decision right there. You're choosing it. He walked out. I sat in the sudden silence. I stood and walked to the mantel where Effie's last Christmas photo sat. I'd paid off their mortgage, $73,000 over 3 years, because Effie said they were struggling. The $12,000 in loans had come after that. I picked up my phone, my thumb hovering over Effie's contact information, but I knew Neil would be listening. I returned to my chair. Something crystallized inside me. Not anger, but something colder and more focused. Clarity about what happened next. By evening, I tried calling Effie 5 times. The first went straight to voicemail. On the 4th, she answered, Dad, I can't. Her voice was a whisper. I have to go. The line went dead after 6 seconds. On Sunday morning, I made my decision. The drive to Maple Ridge Drive took 15 minutes. Their house looked the same. I walked to the front door and knocked. Neil opened the door. Carl, this isn't a good time. The boys have activities scheduled. I'd like to see them. Just for a few minutes. No, we've got a schedule to keep. Through the doorway, Micah's voice rose in triumph. The tower is taller than me. Both boys ran toward the door. Tyler ducked under Neil's arm, launching himself at me. I knelt down and caught him. Grandpa, we made a fort yesterday. I lost another tooth. See, boys, inside now. Neil's voice cut through their excitement. He grabbed Micah's shoulder. Tyler, let go of your grandfather. Both boys retreated, looking back over their shoulders. Their excitement had transformed into uncertainty, into something that looked uncomfortably like fear. Effie appeared in the hallway. Our eyes met. She looked thinner. She mouthed something I couldn't quite catch. Sorry, maybe. Or help. Neil waited until the boys were out of shot. Here's how this works, Carl. He leaned against the door frame. If you want time with Micah and Tyler, the rate is $2,000 per weekend. That's my time you're taking as their father. That's the disruption to our family schedule. Consider it a consultation fee. $2,000, I repeated. Per weekend, cash. You want to be grandfather of the year? That's the price. Otherwise, we're too busy. Schedule's packed. You understand. I looked past him at Effie. She was pressed against the hallway wall. When I caught her eye, she gave a slight shake of her head. Resignation. I see. The words came out flat, emotionless. Good talk. The door closed. I heard the deadbolt slide into place. I walked back to my truck. The drive home was shorter, clearer. I went inside and walked directly to the safe in my bedroom closet. I pulled out a thick folder labeled Maple Ridge Property. On my kitchen table, I opened the folder. The mortgage documents were all there, every payment I'd made, totaling $73,000. I opened a fresh notebook and began listing every transaction in careful handwriting. February 2023, $3,000 consulting opportunity. July 2023, $4,000 cryptocurrency platform. April 2024, $5,000 marketing venture. Maple Ridge mortgage payments, January 2022 through June 2023, total $73,000. March 2025, $2,000 weekend demanded for grandchildren access. The numbers told a clear story, a pattern of exploitation, systematic extraction, now extortion. The property deed lay beside my notebook. I read every word. The notary seal, embossed at the bottom, caught my eye. March 15th, 2022. 3 years ago. I remembered the night. Effie's voice cracking, sobbing. Dad, we're going to lose the house. The bank sent the final notice. $68,000. We have 30 days. The boys, where will we go? My retirement account statement had been on the counter. $72,000. Nearly everything I had. How much do you need? My voice had been steady then. All of it. The full payoff. I know it's everything you saved, but I'll take care of it. The silence on her end had lasted several seconds. Then, Dad, are you sure? That's your retirement. You're my daughter. Those boys are my grandsons. I'm sure. I'd gone to the bank the next morning. The branch manager, Patricia, looked at the withdrawal slip. Mr. Cruz, this is nearly your entire savings. Are you certain about this? I am. The check had felt heavier than it should. The notary's office was in a strip mall. Mr. Hendricks looked at me directly. Mr. Cruz, you have options for how to structure this transaction. You can make this a gift to your daughter and son-in-law, or you can structure it as a secured loan against the property itself. What's the difference? A gift is final. A loan, particularly one secured by the property, protects your interests. If they default on repayment terms, you have legal recourse. Given the amount $68,000, I'd recommend the loan structure. I'd hesitated. It doesn't mean you don't trust them, Hendricks had added. It means you're being prudent. Families have disagreements. Money complicates things. This protects everyone. Make it a loan. The paperwork had taken an hour. I'd signed, watching my signature appear over and over, securing my interest, establishing repayment terms that were never met. Neil had shown up that evening. Carl, I can't thank you enough. I'll pay back every cent. You have my word. But his eyes hadn't quite met mine. Just take care of my daughter and those boys. Absolutely. You'll see. I've got some opportunities lined up. 6 months, maybe a year, and I'll have your money back. 3 months later, he called about a business opportunity. $2,000. For months after that, another call. $3,500 for an emergency. The requests had continued, each one accompanied by promises, each promise more elaborate. I tracked them all in my checkbook, watching the pattern emerge. Now sitting at my kitchen table, I looked at the numbers. $12,000 in additional loans, none repaid, and now $2,000 demanded per weekend to see my own grandsons. I pulled the deed closer, reading the language Hendris had insisted on. Secured loan against property located in 2847 Maple Ridge Drive. In the event of default, lender maintains priority interest. I hadn't been saving their home. I'd been funding Neil's next gamble. The darkness felt clarifying. I'd protected my family, fed his addiction to risk. I spent the next few days researching property law in Florida. I marked my calendar for April 19th and 20th. Lake tarpon, bass fishing, a tradition with the boys. I went to the garage and checked my tackle box, making a list of replacements. Wednesday evening, I waited until 7:30, knowing Neil would be gone. I dialed Effie's number. Effie, it's Dad. I was thinking about taking the boys to Lake Tarpon next weekend. Oh, Dad, let me ask Neil. He handles the boys' schedule now. Since when do you need permission to let your father see his grandsons? It's not like that. He's better at keeping track of their activities. Put Micah on the phone. I want to ask him about fishing. A longer pause. They're already in bed, Dad. School night. Maybe we can talk about this over the weekend. At 7:43 p.m. That was a lie. I'll call you Saturday. Okay, we'll figure something out. Her voice was defeated, trapped. I have to go, Dad. I'll call you. The line went dead. She didn't call Saturday. Thursday afternoon, Neil's name appeared on my screen. Carl, Effie mentioned your fishing idea. The boys have commitments that weekend. Perhaps if you reconsidered your stance on supporting this family financially, we could find time in their calendar. $2,000 per weekend. I see. Thank you for calling back. Just something to think about, Carl. These boys are growing up fast. Be ashamed to miss all of them over a principle. I'll keep that in mind. He hung up. I set the phone down and walked to the table where the property documents sat. I opened my laptop and typed real estate attorney Tampa eviction into the search bar. Neil thought he was building a system, putting a price on family. He thought he could use the home I'd given them as leverage against me. But he'd forgotten the most important thing. The house was in my name. The loan secured against the property. Every legal protection Hendris had insisted on was now a weapon. I picked up my phone and dialed the number for Buchanan and Associates. Buchanan Associates. How may I help you? I need to speak with an attorney about property recovery. I have a secured loan in default, and I need to understand my options. Let me connect you with Mr. Buchanan's office. May I have your name? Carl Cruz. A week of phone calls and paperwork led to this. Friday afternoon, a white envelope in my jacket's inside pocket. Micah and Tyler were playing in the front yard. Tyler kicked the ball toward the street. As I stepped onto the sidewalk, Micah froze. Grandpa! They both dropped everything and ran. Tyler reached me first. You came. Are we going fishing tomorrow? Micah arrived a second later. Did you bring the tackle box? I've been practicing my casting in the backyard. I hugged them both. We'll see, buddy. We'll see. The front door opened. Neil stepped out. What are you doing here, Carl? His voice was territorial. I thought we had this settled. $2,000. That's the price if you want to play grandfather this weekend. Play grandfather. As if loving these boys was a performance. Here. I reached into my jacket, withdrew the envelope, and extended it toward him. My hand was steady. This is what you've earned. He snatched the envelope, thinking he'd won, and tore it open. His eyes dropped to the text, scanning quickly. The change in his face was immediate. Confusion, then comprehension, then the color draining before flushing darker. What is this? His voice rose. Read it carefully, I said, keeping my tone level. You have 30 days. This is my house. He shook the papers, trembling. You gave this to us. You can't just. It's my house. Always has been. The mortgage payoff was structured as a secured loan. The notary made sure of that. You never paid a cent back. The loan's in default. You're insane. This is Effie. He turned and shouted. Effie, get out here. I was already moving toward my car. The boys stood frozen. We'll go fishing soon. I told them, managing a smile. I promise. You can't evict us. Neil's voice followed me, desperate. We have rights. This is our home. I opened my car door. Through the front window, I saw Effie's silhouette appearing, frozen in the doorway. She didn't come outside. 30 days, Neil. That's what the law requires. Use them wisely. I'll fight this. I'll sue you. You'll never see these kids again. You understand me? Never. I closed the door and started the engine. In the rearview mirror, Neil stood in the driveway, holding the crumpled papers, already on his phone, pacing. I drove away, leaving him to the consequences. The answer came 6 days later, an envelope from the Superior Court of Hillsborough County. Neil had filed a counter-lawsuit, claiming the house had been a gift, not a loan, and demanding the eviction be dismissed. I read through it twice, marking the careful lies. Plaintiff provided funds with no expectation of repayment. Property transfer was voluntary and without contractual obligation. On the third day, Effie called. Her voice was thick with tears. Dad, please, you're tearing this family apart. Can't you just stop this? Sweetheart, I'm not mad at you or the boys. I can't keep enabling this pattern. He made your children bargaining chips. He put a price tag on being their grandfather. He's just stressed about money. If you'd help instead of attacking. I've helped. $68,000 worth plus another $12,000 since then. $80,000, Effie. When does helping become enabling? He says you're stealing from us. That you promised the house was ours. Did you promise? I promised to help. I did help, but the paperwork was clear. It was a loan, Effie. The notary explained it to both of you. He says he didn't understand what he was signing. He understood enough to never make a single payment. Then you're choosing money over family. Neil made that choice when he demanded $2,000 a weekend. I'm just responding. She hung up. By Friday, I was in the office of David Wade, an attorney at Buchanan and Associates. His office was on the 16th floor. I spread my folder across his desk. March 2022. I paid off my daughter and son-in-law's mortgage. $68,000. The transaction was structured as a secured loan, notarized, filed with the county, everything proper. I showed him the payment history and the extortion demand. I served an eviction notice. He's countersuing, claiming the money was a gift. Wade scanned the loan agreement. The lien is properly filed. Recorded April 2022. Priority interest. Carl Cruz is lien holder. He looked up. Your documentation is excellent. Notarized loan agreement. Secured lien filed with the county. Payment records. This is textbook. Can he just claim it was a gift? He can claim anything. Proving it's another matter. The documents speak clearly. We'll file a response to his suit. Unless he has something substantial, the court will see through his claim. I wrote a check for the $3,500 retainer. Wade set the court date for May 28th. In the meantime, don't contact your son-in-law directly. All communication goes through me now. For weeks of silence followed. I tried calling Effie and texting the boys, but received no response. I drove to Maple Ridge, but no one answered the door. I looked at the photo of the boys from last year's fishing trip, their faces full of pride and trust. Wednesday morning in late May, I met David Wade outside the courthouse. He reminded me to let him do the talking. Neil arrived with his attorney, Robert Mackey. They stayed at the far end of the hallway. In courtroom 3B, the judge, a woman in her 50s, settled in. Wade stood. Your Honor, the evidence is unambiguous. In March 2022, Mr. Cruz provided $68,000, structured as a secured loan, properly documented and notarized. He placed the loan agreement on the judge's bench. In the 3 years since this loan was made, defendants have made 0 payments. Mr. Cruz served proper notice to vacate. The defendants responded with a countersuit claiming the funds were a gift. The judge looked at Mackey. Mr. Mackey, do you have any documentation showing this was a gift rather than a secured loan? Mackey shuffled papers. Not in writing, Your Honor, but the family understanding and the relationship between. Counselor, I asked about documentation. Mackey's jaw tightened. No, Your Honor, but we believe Mr. Cruz's intent at the time. His intent is clearly stated in the loan agreement he signed and notarized. The judge tapped the papers, pointing out the defendant's signatures, acknowledging the debt. I watched Neil's face across the room. His initial confidence had drained away, replaced by something closer to panic. Your Honor, if I may. Mackey tried again. This action will result in Mr. Cruz's daughter and grandchildren being displaced. The judge removed her reading glasses. Mr. Mackey, we're here to determine the validity of the eviction notice, not to adjudicate family dynamics. The documentation is clear and proper. The loan agreement is valid. The lien is properly filed. The defendants have not made payments. The eviction notice is therefore valid. She looked directly at Neil and his attorney. Defendants have until June 30th to vacate the property at 2847 Maple Ridge Drive. Case dismissed. The gavel came down. Wade quietly said, "Let's go." In the hallway, I felt hollow. What about my grandsons? I asked Wade. I still can't see them. This doesn't fix that. Wade suggested a family law attorney, Margaret Stone, specializing in grandparent visitation rights. 20 minutes later, I was in her office, recounting the entire story, including the $2,000 per weekend demand. Stone confirmed. Florida Statute 752.01 provides for grandparent visitation when it serves the child's best interest. Your situation, systematic blocking of contact, unreasonable financial conditions, fits the criteria. We can file a petition for court-ordered visitation. I asked about the timeline. I'll file the petition this week. Hearing typically scheduled within 4 to 6 weeks. The court takes these cases seriously, especially when there's evidence of parental alienation. I wrote the $2,800 retainer check. Stone added, "One thing, Mr. Cruz. This might be the push your daughter needs. Sometimes people can't see clearly until forced to by outside pressure." The visitation petition was filed on Friday. By Monday, Neil was aware I wasn't stopping. The first week of June, 26 days until the eviction deadline, Neil and Effie began looking for a new place. Every landlord rejected them due to Neil's low credit score, high debt-to-income ratio, and the recent legal judgments showing up on his background check. Effie later recounted the disappointment as they walked to the car in silence. Neil's visit to the bank for a loan also failed. The loan officer cited the low credit score, low 500s, multiple judgments, and the active legal filings. Wade and I then filed a debt collection lawsuit for the $12,000 in unpaid loans plus interest. Neil exploded when he received the papers, blaming me for destroying this family. Effie weakly defended me, and he spun on her, demanding whose side she was on. She backed down, but she had seen him without the mask. The breaking point came from an unexpected source, Micah. Effie was on the phone when Micah asked, "Mom, why can't we see Grandpa anymore? Did we do something wrong?" Effie ended the call and locked herself in the bathroom. 2 hours later, my phone rang. Effie's name was on the screen. "Dad," her voice broke. "Everything's falling apart. We can't find a place to live. Neil's credit is. I didn't know how bad things were. And the boys keep asking about you. Micah wanted to know if they did something wrong. Sweetheart, tell me what's happening. I'm here. Neil, he blames you for everything. But I can see. He doesn't have any answers. No plan, no money, nothing. You and the boys can stay with me. My door is always open." "I can't. Neil would. I'm not going anywhere. When you're ready, I'm here. I have to go. Neil's coming back. Don't tell him I called. Please." "I won't. I love you, sweetheart." I set the phone down. Effie had called. The wall Neil had built around her was showing cracks. June 30th was 2 weeks away. The visitation hearing was scheduled for July 8th. The family court felt different. Effie wouldn't meet my eyes in the hallway. In the courtroom, Margaret Stone presented my notebook, showing the systematic and unjustified interference with contact. Stone called my neighbor, Mrs. Patterson, who testified about seeing me attempt to visit several times, with Neil refusing entry even as the boys asked to see me. Then, Stone called Effie Morrison to the stand. Effie walked forward, pale and reluctant. "Mrs. Morrison," Stone asked gently, "in all those years, did your father ever give you reason to fear for their safety?" "No, never." Effie's voice was barely audible. "Who made the decision to prevent your father from seeing Micah and Tyler?" Effie's hands twisted. "My husband did." Her voice cracked. Neil decided. I went along with it." "Did your father ever do anything to harm or endanger your children?" "No." Her voice was stronger. "He loves them. He always has. He's a good grandfather." Neil's attorney tried a weak cross-examination about financial disagreements, but Effie's answers remained consistent. The judge removed his glasses, cleaning them slowly. "The evidence is clear. Mr. Cruz has demonstrated a pattern of attempting contact that was systematically denied, without legitimate cause. Temporary visitation order is granted effective immediately every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., beginning July 26th. He looked directly at Neil. "Mr. Morrison, this is a court order. You will comply. Final ruling will be issued within 30 days. The gavel came down. Outside the courtroom, I saw Neil grab Effie's arm, pulling her to the side. His voice was low, angry. "You just sided with him against me in front of a judge. Do you understand what you've done?" "I was under oath." Effie's voice rose. "I couldn't lie. You better figure out where your loyalty lies fast." Effie pulled her arm free. "Maybe I already have." Neil stared at her, then walked away. Stone appeared beside me. "Victory, Mr. Cruz. Clean and clear." "Thank you." I took the paper. Stone pulled out her phone. "David Wade copied me on a notice this morning. The sheriff's office scheduled forced eviction for August 2nd. Your son-in-law ignored the June 30th deadline." I looked down the hallway where Neil had disappeared. "So it's really happening." "It's really happening. They'll physically remove them if necessary. Everything's converging, Mr. Cruz. The house, the visitation, the debt collection. Neil's running out of places to hide." I thought about Effie standing alone. "What about my daughter?" "That's her choice to make." Stone's voice was kind but realistic. I drove home. July 26th was circled on my calendar, 10 days away. August 2nd was circled, too. The day consequences became real. 10 days later, July 26th arrived. Micah and Tyler were waiting on the curb. Neil stood in the doorway of their apartment, arms crossed. Effie gave a small, tentative wave. "Grandpa." Tyler reached my car first. "You brought the good tackle box." Wouldn't dream of bringing anything else. At Lake Tarpon, the old dock extended over the water. I helped the boys with their rods. "Hold it steady," I told Tyler. "Wait for the second tug, then set the hook." The rod bent. Tyler yanked back, and the fish was on. When the base broke the surface, Tyler's whoop of joy echoed across the water. "Grandpa, look." We fished until noon, then ate sandwiches on the dock. "We're learning about firefighters and social studies," Tyler said. "I told my teacher my grandpa was a fire captain." "Can we go see the fireboat at the harbor again soon?" Micah asked. "Absolutely. Next Saturday if you want." On August 2nd, Wade called. "Sheriff's Department executed the eviction this morning. They moved to an apartment in Seffner Heights." "How did Neil take it?" "About as well as you'd expect, but there was nothing he could do." A week later, the debt collection case settled. Neil's attorney proposed a payment plan. Wade recommended rejecting it, but I told him to accept. "Why?" he asked. "Because Effie asked me to. She's trying to rebuild. I'm not going to make that harder than it needs to be." The call from Effie came on a Tuesday evening in mid-August. "Dad, I need to say something. You were right about everything. I was too scared to see it." "Sweetheart, what matters is what you do now. You and the boys. That's what I care about. I'm thinking about leaving him. I can't let the boys grow up thinking this is what family looks like. Whatever you decide, you'll have a place here. You and Micah and Tyler. Always. He blames you for everything. Do you see it?" "I do now. I should have seen it years ago." I'm sorry, Dad. You were trying to hold your family together. You just needed time to realize you were holding on to something that was already broken. The final court order came in late August. Permanent visitation rights every Saturday from 10 to 6. That Saturday, I picked up the boys. Neil wasn't there. Effie said he was doing delivery work. At the lake, Tyler caught an even bigger bass. Grandpa, we were to do this every Saturday now, right? Forever. Every Saturday, buddy. Rain or shine. That's a promise. Cruz has demonstrated a pattern of attempting contact that was systematically denied without legitimate cause. Temporary visitation order is granted effective immediately every Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., beginning July 26th. He looked directly at Neil. Mr. Morrison, this is a court order. You will comply. Final ruling will be issued within 30 days. The gavel came down. Outside the courtroom, I saw Neil grab Effie's arm, pulling her to the side. His voice was low, angry. You just sided with him against me in front of a judge. Do you understand what you've done? I was under oath. Effie's voice rose. I couldn't lie. You better figure out where your loyalty lies fast. Effie pulled her arm free. Maybe I already have. Neil stared at her, then walked away. Stone appeared beside me. Victory, Mr. Cruz. Clean and clear. Thank you. I took the paper. Stone pulled out her phone. David Wade copied me on a notice this morning. The sheriff's office scheduled forced eviction for August 2nd. Your son-in-law ignored the June 30th deadline. I looked down the hallway where Neil had disappeared. So it's really happening. It's really happening. They'll physically remove them if necessary. Everything's converging, Mr. Cruz. The house, the visitation, the debt collection. Neil's running out of places to hide. I thought about Effie standing alone. What about my daughter? That's her choice to make. Stone's voice was kind but realistic. I drove home. July 26th was circled on my calendar, 10 days away. August 2nd was circled, too. The day consequences became real. 10 days later, July 26th arrived. Micah and Tyler were waiting on the curb. Neil stood in the doorway of their apartment, arms crossed. Effie gave a small, tentative wave. Grandpa, Tyler reached my car first. You brought the good tackle box. Wouldn't dream of bringing anything else. At Lake Tarpon, the old dock extended over the water. I helped the boys with their rods. Hold it steady, I told Tyler. Wait for the second tug, then set the hook. The rod bent. Tyler yanked back, and the fish was on. When the base broke the surface, Tyler's whoop of joy echoed across the water. Grandpa, look. We fished until noon, then ate sandwiches on the dock. We're learning about firefighters and social studies, Tyler said. I told my teacher my grandpa was a fire captain. Can we go see the fireboat at the harbor again soon? Micah asked. Absolutely. Next Saturday if you want. On August 2nd, Wade called. Sheriff's Department executed the eviction this morning. They moved to an apartment in Seffner Heights. How did Neil take it? About as well as you'd expect, but there was nothing he could do. A week later, the debt collection case settled. Neil's attorney proposed a payment plan. Wade recommended rejecting it, but I told him to accept. Why, he asked. Because Effie asked me to. She's trying to rebuild. I'm not going to make that harder than it needs to be. The call from Effie came on a Tuesday evening in mid-August. Dad, I need to say something. You were right about everything. I was too scared to see it. Sweetheart, what matters is what you do now. You and the boys. That's what I care about. I'm thinking about leaving him. I can't let the boys grow up thinking this is what family looks like. Whatever you decide, you'll have a place here. You and Micah and Tyler. Always. He blames you for everything. Do you see it? I do now. I should have seen it years ago. I'm sorry, Dad. You were trying to hold your family together. You just needed time to realize you were holding on to something that was already broken. The final court order came in late August. Permanent visitation rights every Saturday from 10 to 6. That Saturday, I picked up the boys. Neil wasn't there. Effie said he was doing delivery work. At the lake, Tyler caught an even bigger bass. Grandpa, We're to do this every Saturday now, right? Forever. Every Saturday, buddy. Rain or shine. On the drive home, both boys fell asleep in the back seat, exhausted and happy. I knew I'd won the only thing that mattered. Neil had his consequences. Effie was finding her strength. And I had my Saturdays. If you like this story, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share your impressions of this story in the comments. To listen to the next story, click on the box on the right. Thank you for watching.